2024 Bitcoin has had a decent rally yesterday. Quite a decent rally. Still not showing like significant strength here, and we are right up against some very important resistance. So we'll see what happens throughout the next day or so. But I'm open to a little bit more upside, just straight away. But yeah, we are at some important resistance right now, and we're going to go over that in this video along with a load of other stuff. So before I get started, please hit the like button, please hit subscribe if you've not done so already. Check out tauruscrypto.com if you would like to learn more about our trading community. So you can join our trading community where we trade Bitcoin, altcoins, legacy markets on a daily basis. We also have a ton of educational content over there if you are wanting to learn the methods that we're showing in these videos. So starting off here with Bitcoin, I'm just going to flip this over onto the daily chart. And yesterday, yeah, it was a pretty decent bounce. So you've recovered more than 50% of the big move down that we had on Monday. So that massive capitulation that we had on Monday pretty much recovered like almost most of that day. But coming back into what we must now consider as this higher time frame resistance. So if we look at the range as a whole, this is on spot, by the way. Look at the range as a whole from when we kind of first came into this range back here in beginning of March, end of February. We've been trading within this range, and we're just like rejecting off of the value area low of this entire range right now. What we also have here is this daily OB. Now, what we had been anticipating previously was that this gap here had a pretty decent probability of acting as support if we were going to see a move higher. Okay, we had a nice impulse. You had the low that got put in on the 1st of May, right? You then consolidated impulse, and then we had this double top up at 72K here. Now, if this impulsive structure was going to hold, then we would have been looking for this 64K zone to hold. But as soon as we started to see that acceptance within it, last Friday being a really bad day, and then Sunday night basically confirming that this was indeed very bearish and we're going to be taking more liquidity, we've traded through that, and now we are back testing what many had hoped would hold as support here as resistance back into this daily OB, what you could potentially be like a breaker from the move up. Now that it's lost it, it's acting as that resistance with the potential for this to drop lower here. So certainly some tough areas for Bitcoin to get through, and we're also coming into higher volume and some significant levels above. Now drop it down onto the 4-hour. We can see here we've just been consistently making this high, low, lower, high, lower, 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 low, lower, high structure so far. And what we also have here is a gap on the 4-hour. Now these have consistently rejected, especially if you zoom in over here. Then these gaps on the 4-hour, okay, it accelerated to the point. Previously, okay, you've been rejecting off of them, so you have a little one back here, and you get that rejection, you get that double top. A little one here, all right, you get that rejection again, and then continuation lower. And then we got that acceleration down where they're not even back tested. Now, this is the first one that's really been back tested here. So we had the bounce, and then you have this box here is slightly extended. It's to the full extent of the single prints, because I think that's a more important zone. But we have that 4-hour, which basically there's your 4-hour gap. All right, and in terms of getting like confidence of seeing a move higher, you've really got to start to see some acceptance above this area. So this basically being an impulsive move down, an aggressive move down, short positions, sellers very much in control, taking the initiative to push price lower. And this is where there was aggression. So the main like one-sided trading activity was taking place here initially to break this candle down. So here, all right, you break support. So you have a bit of an uptrend, you break down. So an aggressive move to break down. You then a fairly balanced, an aggressive move once again to break that support. And once again here, an aggressive move down to break through high time frame levels and to hit stops, to hit liquidations, and so on. Now, this is obviously where shorts are in control. So they're not going to want to, if you're bearish on Bitcoin, you're not going to want price to get back above here, because the sellers that were showing aggression to force price lower will be positioned within these zones here. So as soon as you start to flip that, okay, you're going to get shorts covering, and that's likely to move to the next level higher, just fairly naturally, because that's kind of what happens. All right, if suddenly you've bought something or you've sold something and then it ends up at a higher price, right, you're going to cover your losses, and you're going to expect this to be a higher price here. Now, until we break through that, you can't really be expecting so much more upside. It had a good few tests of it yesterday. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 times really you've tried to break above, failed to do so, and then on the latest occasion it was one of those like overnight, right? You open a new day, you sweep previous day highs, you then reject, and you start coming back into balance again here. Now, moving things down onto a 30-minute time frame, you can see this again very, very clearly. So I'm going to extend this box down so that we can see that is essentially where we have those single prints, and almost like this whole area here is that big impulse down. Okay, so initiative, selling, going on to break it into that monthly level, then to take out the lows, and then to get this reversal here. You've had those 3 spikes into this resistance. So 3 taps here, you have a 1, you have a 2, you have a 3 taps into resistance, and now we're seeing this corrective move. Now, as support, okay, I still think if we are holding this structure where we had like a nice like low, we came back, and then we got this continuation, I wouldn't be against seeing some kind of correction here back down towards the monthly, back down towards this daily level. What I really would not want to see is anything that ends up getting essentially, once again, acceptance below these 2 zones here. So this like this angry bird looking kind of guy thing here, you really want to see these levels hold. If this is to drop lower, okay, quick drop down, and then you would want to see continuation higher. So you don't want to see those deep retraces. As soon as you gain acceptance below that monthly, again, I think it's all over, and we're going to be taking out those lows. Now, this could bounce before then as well. There's no real need for this to go any lower. There are some reasons as to why I think that we could have just put in a pretty decent low for this session so far. So essentially what we had was, we'll have to go down into the even lower timeframes again here, is we had some gaps that had formed. So yesterday, this was towards the end of that New York session, we had another impulse to take the highs. All right. Now on each of these times where we've had these impulses higher, okay, you have the recovery, right? A very nice, just TWAPI effect recovery, just buy, recover, impulse through to hold. Yesterday morning when we were doing our live stream, price had just bounced off of this monthly level, which we were saying was a very key level to hold, because as soon as you get this V shape, you want to be holding your reference point from where it started to break down previously, which is exactly what has happened. Okay, precisely what happened. We held that reference point being a key monthly level, and then we got that continuation higher in towards these gaps. Now, in order to keep this balanced, right, every time we've seen an impulse up, okay, it's been retraced, but it hasn't gone any lower. So impulse up, been retraced, but hasn't gone any lower. Impulse up, retraced, but no lower. Impulse up, now, so far, retraced, but no lower. So you're looking at this being an important low for now if you are positioning into long positions. And what we also have over here is, if we look at our previous day view up close, boom, there is the level. I can draw that a little bit clearer. Previous day VWAP close being always, especially when VWAP was very reactive on the day before. So you can see yesterday how we had VWAP just being very reactive for the most part of the day. All right, as soon as you started to confirm that this was an uptrend here, you're holding VWAP, you're extending above, you're holding VWAP, extending above, you're holding VWAP. And then you get this other test back into it, where once again, we are holding that VWAP, that previous day VWAP currently as support, but underneath our current session VWAP, and having rejected once off of this daily open. So it's a little bit 50-50 here. What I would want to see if we're going to see some upsides for some strength, I think scalp long off of that VWAP would have been decent, but you can see we've got a level here that's quite important. Okay, this daily level that we have from way back over here, I'm just going to reset this. So the bottom of this OB, essentially, right, acting as a very important daily level. You zoom back in, that where this D is that daily level. you lost it, rejected, started to trade through it, and now once again we're kind of right at it. So you're caught between like a little bit of a rock and a hard place on the chart right now, where we do have some support here, some established support, and we are currently in this low time frame uptrend, but there is significant resistance above. So what would make me more confident is if we do see this daily open flip back into support, then we can be looking for another test to see if we can get that acceptance above 62,500. I don't really think that's likely. I do see the momentum starting to slow here, so I think a move down a little bit deeper before potentially testing higher is more likely. And in that stage, we've just got to hope that we hold above 60k essentially, because if we don't, it is going to be a move back down to 58. And at that stage, I think quite a lot lower. So let's see how this recovery goes for now. But so far on the day, I mean, pretty slow. It had done something similar yesterday where people were starting to get a little bit bearish at the same time of day, right? So exactly where we are now. Okay, this being our basically London Open. You have a bit of a move down during the London session. Yesterday was London Open. You have a bit of a move down during London session, getting people bearish, but this can very easily flip. And what that would mean is just flip that back into the daily open, and then we're looking to see if we can get that acceptance above 62,500 once again. Not too much more to say on this particular chart. I think I've kind of covered everything from that. But if we go over and we have a look at what's on the interwebs, is this going to load up for us? Here we go. ETFs yesterday. Okay, we did have tiny inflows. All right, so we did have tiny inflows showing that there is still some demand for Bitcoin here. It wasn't just like perps being like, oh my God, everybody's liquidated and we're just going to bounce because there's no sellers left within futures. There was a little bit of demand. Spot was okay, but it's nothing significant. Nothing significant. So we'll see if that happens. Of course, we'd gone through the longest sustained outflows from the ETFs for quite some time. So see if that can, if we can maybe continue. I expect a fairly neutral day again on the ETFs again today, unless we start dumping or something crazy. The Delta, don't want to look at a 10-second chart. Let's flip this onto a 5-minute and then let's refresh. All right, Delta right now, we can see the rally's been mainly spot-led, which is healthy. Okay, so we have had a spot-led rally. The only thing I would say here is maybe some kind of just exhibiting some signs of weakness up on these highs. I know you're not making higher highs within the CVD, but there is an attempt to basically, just push price a little bit higher. It's unable to do so, and we are starting to see that weakness. And what we can see here on perps, just less appetite to buy up at these highs right now, which is causing this like correction that we're currently going through. Nothing on this. Of course, we know we still have that spot premium going on, and it can extend and it can continue for quite some time. But if you just look at a naked chart, like, it's a decent recovery that we've seen so far. It's been a decent bounce so far, and let's see if we can start to hold this. Remember, we do historically have a lot of support around about this 60,000, 60,500 zone. So let's see if that can once again hold our support here. And yeah, other than that, there's nothing too much more. We're looking at a corrective day, some stuff red, some stuff green. Nothing too exciting going on there. Now, check out the order flow, and we'll just finish off with this. There's your previous day view up close. So that is what we had seen the bounce from earlier. We've also seen these stacked imbalances have been reacting quite well recently, but this is on the very low time frames. I'm just going to pop this over onto the TPO and we'll take a look at that. So, PDPOC right here. So we have seen this move down. 61,280 is our previous day point of control. The low that we've put in so far today is 61,350. So a few dollars below where price currently is. Obviously the tick size, I can't move my exo charts. There we go. The tick size showing that this is almost there. But we've put in a low that's very close to that previous day point of control. Maybe one more sweep down to hit that 61,280, 61,240 zone is what we could potentially be looking at. We do also have this double top on the day. Now, again, tick size, because we're quite volatile at the moment, I've got my tick size quite high so that we can see this clearly. If we do drop this down, then clearly we haven't had that, like, it's just going to reload. It's going to freeze everything. There we go. We can see that, of course, today we did trade above those previous day highs. One TPO printed above, and now we can see a little bit clearer. We still have a little bit more space before we come into these volume and time point of controls lower. So depending on your tick size, depending on everything, you do get slightly different reads on where things are at. But overall, it's roughly the same areas that we want to be looking at. That 21,260, 21,200 to 21,300 volume supports where we have VWAP and point of control currently there. If these areas do hold as support, then great. Okay, we've traded through the single prints, fantastic. If we get acceptance above 62,500, good. Then we can be starting to aim for the poor highs that we have above, and they are very poor highs that we have from over the weekend. I know it's showing once again here one single TPO up at the top, but that it was so like loads of like just equal highs for the whole weekend. So I would then be looking for these to be taken out fairly quickly. If we do get that acceptance above that 62,500, I think a relatively fast move higher there. The other stuff that we have on the TPO, you can see that we do have an MPOC down here at 60k exactly. That's the level. That's kind of your line in the sand, right? And especially since these points of control quite clearly have been working very well, that 58,200 POC, volume POC from all the way back here on the 2nd of May that had been left behind. You can see that move that we had on Monday, basically, yeah, trading into that almost to the tick. And now we've seen that reaction so far. So TPO is reacting really well. And then we can be using these levels basically on the charts. If you are, I'm not going to go over all these levels, but screenshot them. There's all your volume points of control. They have been reacting very well recently. So that's that. Other than that, there's nothing else to say, really. I think we're pretty much done. We are, trading quite far outside of value for this particular trend. I would imagine at some point we do see a move back in towards the VWAP from those highs. That would take out those poor highs from the weekend. And then even if we are going to get a continuation lower, I do believe that we can be seeing a reversion towards 66k before lower prices are found. So I'm hoping for that sign of strength. Not particularly confident in it. Okay, we're still in a very, very clear and obvious downtrend. We haven't yet managed to get that sign of strength that even starts to trade back through some of these previous day profiles, right? But I kind of feel that this is what we need to see is that move up, just because we had such an extreme move. Even if we are going to continue lower, I think testing back into some of these higher time frame resistances are likely, even if there is to be a drop further down. If we do drop from here, it's just, it's really not the kind of thing you want to be seeing. That would be very much weakness, continuation of what we have been seeing previously, okay, with just previous areas of imbalance, previous gaps acting as resistance, retracing the entire move. And because we're already accelerating, that move on Monday was a big move. I think if this does reject here, we're looking at more acceleration. And I think that expecting an SFP of the lows here and then a reversal would be very unlikely. I think it would be further acceleration down to 56, and 52k, those kind of levels. So we will see how things go. How are we looking right now on the Bitcoin chart? We're still just hovering around this support. So very, very similar to what we did yesterday. So let's see how this gets on. Final little thing, for myself, I want to see reclaim a daily open and higher prices to clear this gap, push on towards those weekend highs, and maybe as we look towards the end of the week, get that test back into some like higher time frame resistances that we have. If that isn't going to happen, then any lower than this, really, I start to get bearish again. I think we are at some important support right now. I would like to see this hold to maintain this trend. So it's in the balance. Drop any lower, you start looking for a lot lower. Recover this daily open, and I think we can start looking at a pretty decent rally here as we go into the rest of the day and the latter stages of this week. So thank you very much for watching. In future videos, I'm also going to be starting to fill out a daily like planning sheet that I'm going to be sharing with everyone in the crew as well, and those will be done on the stream. Reminder that I do stream. These videos are recorded during a live stream, so if you want to see extended analysis beyond this, if you want to ask questions, I do stream every single morning around about between 9 and 10 a.m. UK time. So keep an eye out for those. Do subscribe, do hit the like button if you've not done so already. It would I'd massively appreciate it, and comment below because it does help the algos. And if you are interested in learning any of the stuff that we've been talking about in this video and learning about the way that I trade, the analysis that I do, then please go and check out tauruscrypto.com, where you can find out more information about our crew. And if you would like to sign up to the crew, it's just over here. Okay, this is the website. If you would like to join the crew, it's very easy to do so. And yeah, it would be a pleasure to have you over there. So see you all very soon. I'll see you in the next video tomorrow morning. And until then, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.